Hello and welcome to your Astro updates for the week of September 18th through the 24th. I'm going to be pulling out some of the key alignments that I have my eye on for this week, namely those including Venus, Mars, and Chiron. Before we do that though, let's go ahead and look at Tuesday the 19th. We are having Sun in Virgo in an opposition to Neptune. This opposition can bring about illusions in what we are spending our diligent efforts in maintaining or improving our health and wellness routines. So Virgo season, when the sun is in Virgo, this is where we're emphasizing, focusing on getting everything into the schedule, holding how did I write this today? Allowing myself to be held within my schedule. So that means we're scheduling in every little detail of what needs to happen in a day for us to feel that we have been productive and achieved what it is that we're wanting to achieve, not just in our education and our wellness and fitness and work, but also in our sacred work, which is something that we are providing as a service, something that we're devoted to being of service to. So there is a huge high expectation in Virgo season to find a way to get it all done in the course of a day. So when we see the sun in opposition with Neptune in Pisces, this is going to bring about, in one sense, it can give us more of a vision into how we're going to, or first of all, what is it that we want to be devoted to? What is this next iteration of our sacred work? How can I get all of myself into my schedule? A lot of times we'll cancel things that were, like the me time, the writer's date, the creative, whatever special things that we have for ourselves, we'll often cross those things off first to make space to take care of somebody else, or, okay, maybe that's just me, or maybe, I don't know, that hopefully for Virgo season, we are finding a way to make sure that we put ourselves in there too. So as I was creating my schedule, I was like, oh, well, what about when am I going to lay down and read a book? When am I going to, so actually like blocking times off in the day to get those things done. Now bring in this opposition with Neptune, and Neptune has to do with the collective dreams and visions. So Neptune is beyond Saturn's ring. So it has to do with transpersonal topics that are huge. It's a global collective vision that we have. So where has that collective vision been a disservice to you? That's one of the questions that I am asking myself as Sun and Neptune come into this opposition. Where has the collective vision been a disservice to my nervous system, to my health, to my ability to do my sacred work? Because oftentimes our sacred work ends up getting pushed off to the side because we need to focus on getting that income so we can pay the super high rent and the increasing cost of groceries and all of that stuff. So where has the collective vision been of disservice to my sacred work? How can I get myself on my schedule as a priority? So that is what we're looking at for Tuesday, September 19th. And then we get into the that's the 19th. Then we get into the 20th, and we have Sun trine Pluto on the 20th. And so the Sun, Pluto is at 27, the Sun is at 27. So Sun is at 27 Virgo. That means we're almost done with Virgo season. Pluto is at 27 of Capricorn. And as you know, this Pluto through Capricorn has been a very long ongoing process that we are almost done. We're like at the finish line almost. But when we have this trine, first of all, a trine is a 120-degree angle. It is harmonious. It is meant to share graceful, friendly, harmonious energy between two planets that are in the same, what do you call this? The element. So, not the element of Earth. So this is the element is Earth. So we have Virgo as an Earth sign. We have Capricorn as an Earth sign, but they are different in one way, which is that Capricorn is a cardinal sign. It has to do with creating culture, building sustainability. And Virgo is a mutable sign, which is very easily changeable. Capricorn, not so changeable, very solid. And Virgo, extremely changeable. It actually thrives in being able to recognize a pattern and change things to make the pattern better. So when we have this harmonious trine in the element of Earth, we will have an opportunity, and it is just this one day, we will have an opportunity to build something sustainable. And the sun in Virgo, it's like you can recognize patterns in your life and ask yourself if those patterns are something that will lead you into a more reliable, grounded, sustainable way of living. So that is on the 20th, which is Wednesday, Mercury Day. So that day, I feel like since it's a trine, it's a harmonious aspect, those are considered easy because they're graceful, they're sharing energy. After we had that possible delusion, illusion, possibly getting another iteration of our vision and our dreams, which that's going to be on Tuesday. Now on Wednesday, we have an opportunity to really grab it and ground it down, to make it, bring it down to earth. So on Wednesday, possibly looking at where you can make something concrete that has to do with your schedule, with getting in things into your daily routine that are going to help you build the foundation that you want to be on. So that is the 20th. And then on the 22nd, which is going to be Friday, the sun enters Libra. So this is autumnal equinox, and I'm going to do a separate video discussing the equinox because this is going to be the energy that carries us through the last portion of the year, and this day needs a whole video to itself. So let's skip the 22nd, and I'll link you to the equinox video. Now, the 23rd, this is what I really want to talk about, is these Chiron activations that we're having. So on the 23rd, Venus comes into a harmonious 120-degree angle with Chiron. Now, this is the third trine that Venus has made with Chiron. So because Venus has been in this retrograde cycle, has been in Leo going on 4 months now, we have already seen 2 of these Venus in harmonious aspect with Chiron. So Chiron is known as a healer. Well, we call Chiron, you'll Google, you'll see the wounded healer, but I like to think of Chiron as a masterful, skilled alchemist, because Chiron not only was a master healer and taught so many of the Greek gods and goddesses healing, the art of healing, Chiron also taught the art of war, the art of prophecy, the art of the sciences, war, music, like everything. So Chiron is multifaceted, and Venus has to do with our receptivity, and how my Venus topics are kind of changing now because I've been really focusing on learning Venus with a different teacher, using a different book and a different way of looking at the Venus cycle. So I'll stick with what I normally know of Venus, but just know that there's so much more to Venus than just love and beauty and relationships. But Venus does include that. Venus does have to do with our ability to attract and magnetize, pull things in toward us. So pulling something toward us, Venus shows us in our own chart what it is that we are attracted to, what is attractive about us, what we value, how we create bonds. So bonding amongst our intimate people in our life, people in our inner circle. What do we connect with? What do we connect with others on? And what is it? Well, Saturn is more of the glue that will hold us together in those relationships. Venus is more of the initial attraction that pulls people together and is able to maintain a sort of maintain in the sense of, I know what you like, so I will do these things that you like, to maintain not cohesive, but reciprocity. That is a Venus word, reciprocity. So now, when Venus comes into a harmonious alignment with Chiron for the third time since June, this is going to be the completion of that, whatever has been going on in this particular part of your chart. And you can think about it in the sense of, what house do you have Venus in? And what house do you have Aries in? And this is happening at 18 degrees of Leo and 18 degrees of Aries. So what I meant to say is, what house do you have Leo in? And what house do you have Aries in? So this is, again, in the same element of fire. Aries is a cardinal sign, means that it holds down the solstice point. That would be Aries is the spring equinox. And then Leo is a fixed sign. And so it has more of a stubbornness to it. There's more of a wanting to hold. And just look at those areas of your chart. But if you don't know your chart, you can email me and I will send you a copy of your chart for you, because it's going to be really helpful for you moving forward if you're wanting to learn and understand more about yourself through the lens of astrology. So, okay, on this date, Saturday the 23rd, there can be some feeling of alchemizing some sort of wounds that we have around love, resources, relationships, around how we feel beautiful and attractive, how we use our power of attraction, wounds around beauty in general and appearance, because Venus in Leo does have a lot to do with how we appear. And does that outer appearance match what's inside your heart? Like I used to call, Venus gemstone. I love to say this, that Venus gemstone is in your heart, coded information about what you believe that you're worth, what you feel is your true value. And this harmonious alignment with Chiron can kind of bring out more of the healed version of the wounds about your value and worth. So the healed version, because I'm saying that because this is a harmonious alignment, which tells me that it's going to be something that has been alchemized already. So now we get to the part where we're bringing out the gifts of the gemstone in our heart that is coded with what I value, what is my value and what is my worth? Because what we believe our value and worth is exactly what we're going to be attracting into our life. And that doesn't mean that if you attract some slimy situation in your life, it does not mean that you don't value yourself or that you don't have a sense of self-worth. But it is an opportunity for you to clearly state it out loud to the other person. And in doing that, it creates a ripple in the whole entire universe, which says loud and clear what your value and your worth is. So if that slimy person comes into your life and you're like, oh, this must be what I value about myself? No. The way that you value yourself is going to be handled in the way that you approach that situation with the person. And you don't have to be rude. You can just say, these things that you're bringing into my life are things that I do not want. So bye. And that's it. There's no parting gifts. You don't need to give resources to help them in any kind of way. You just say no, because that's not what you're about. And that does not match the gemstone coded in your heart that says what your values and worth are. You just keep it moving. So that is the 23rd. And I feel like this day can be really good for healing relationships. So if it is a established relationship and you've been going through some challenging things, as I really think a lot of people probably have been, and a lot of the people who I've been reading for have told me that they are having challenges in their relationships, that this day on the 23rd can bring a healing. So if you are waiting to have a conversation, definitely consider having that conversation on the 23rd. Then we get to the 24th and we will see Mars come into an opposition with Chiron. So Mars is currently in Libra. Make sure I said everything on my notes I wanted to say. Mars is currently in Libra. Libra is the sign of conscious co-creative relationships. Libra has to do with how we balance me with we, W-E. So in Libra, it is a cardinal sign in the direction of, or cardinal west. It's westing. It's when the sun goes down in the west. And this has to do with where me becomes we. And this is where we integrate ourselves into a either relationship with a lover, a family unit, a community, where we don't disappear, but we do need to consider other people. And there's like a mediation between my will, my desires, and what is the will and desire of the unit, and what's going to be best for everybody, and how can we be in reciprocal relationship. That's what Libra is about. With Mars there is, and there has been, as long as Mars has been in this sign, a strong desire to make relationships work. Because Mars has to do with desire, the will to fight for something. And now we're going to see Mars come into an opposition with Chiron. So now we've just seen Venus make a trine aspect, a harmonious 120-degree aspect to Chiron. There possibly could be some healing happening in relationships or in your own relationship material. That piece, especially if you're single, that piece is monumental to healing all your relationships. Then as Mars gets into that, the opposition is different than a trine. Opposition is how it sounds. My mentor calls this resonant polarity, being in a resonant polarity, because they are opposite, but they have something in common. And in Libra and Aries, what do they have in common? the common good, the community, the group. And while Aries has to do with the individual will and Libra has to do with the group consciousness, we need healed and healthy individuals, Chiron and Aries, in order to have a reciprocal relationship within communities. That would be Mars in Libra. So on Sunday, we're getting a chance to play with what does that mean? For me to be an individual who is healthy and healed, okay, there is no end point. It's not like you did all your Reiki training and your nutrition classes and your somatics and you know, it's not like you did all of that and now you're healed. It is an ongoing process, and actually Chiron teaches us about the wounds that may never heal. It's actually an act of self-love so much to the point that instead of cutting off pieces of ourselves and sacrificing them, like, okay, this part, don't need it, that's bad, this is not worth anything. Instead of sacrificing parts of ourselves, the Chiron journey is about bringing them in and bringing them closer and calling all of yourself back into your spine, back into your energy body. So on the 24th, we may have some opportunities that feel very intense, maybe even a little aggression or adversarial because of Mars being in Libra. There may be some aggression that comes up. And this is where I will recommend this week, have a little review of your favorite communication. What do you call this? Okay, well, I'll just mention mine. I like the nonviolent communication model. That's the word. Your communication model. What is your favorite communication model? Don't just wing it. Please don't just wing it. Just because you know how to speak English or whatever language you speak, just because you know how to speak does not mean that you know how to communicate. And yes, you definitely should take at least one class outside of whatever may have been in your curriculum for your training, unless you're a counselor and you've had a lot of training on communication. Take at least one class. If you can, sign up for or read Marshall Rosenthal's book, Nonviolent Communication. Or since we need to speed this up because this is happening on Sunday. And this week is really full of opportunities for relational things because the sun is going into Libra, the most relational sign of the zodiac. So you need a little crash course. You can look up on YouTube the nonviolent communication model. You can get a book and do a PDF, read the intro of the book and just get some idea about the model itself. And I believe I have a YouTube video that I did discuss that model. Yeah, so good luck. I think you'll be fine. Let me know if you have any, well, first of all, in the comments, let me know what does come up this week. Keep me posted on that. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments. I do answer them and I will answer them, especially if it's a really good question. I'll make a video about it. So thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you all again really soon.